Okay, so we would like to write the statements so we can allow this thing. Select the content of all tables in the schema company except the column salary in the table employee. Now the thing is, if we would like to do that, we need to grant what? I'd like to be able to select. So grant select on which table? Which, first of all, the schema. So it's called company. Do I have company? Yes, I do have company. I'm just going to use this lowercase dot, and then which tables? Employee. And what am I granting sect on employee? And then what comes next? To the username. Is that it? Grant select on the company dot employee to username. That's what I would like to. But where are all the tables? Because I said select the content of all tables in the table except the column salary in the table employee. That means he has access to all tables, but he does not have access to every column in all the tables. I'm seeing, I don't know, I should have less keyboard typing starting from here. You were the only fortunate one to be locked, because I was connecting selecting yours when I said broadcast or demo, it went only for you. But now I think everyone can see that on the screen. So grant select on company.employee to username. Well, that's doing just very small part of what needed to be done, because I'd like to give everything except to that. Okay. So now what I'd like to do this star. Now the problem with the MySQL is that if you do the star, if you'd like to then revoke with just some table, for example, you can't. So what I need to do, I need to put all the tables, and there's no just you put one and then comma and then company dot department. It doesn't work this way. Why? Because if you look at the grant statement, this is how you should be. You have grant, and then you have the privilege type. And I would like you to understand these type of things, because we're not going to be able to, memorize all the different possibilities that are available with all MySQL. So you should be able to read this thing. So again, when you have these braces, no, these are not braces, these are called brackets. The braces are these ones. So those brackets means these are optional things. Now notice what is going to happen. Now grant, you give a privilege type. What is this priv type? You can go here, it explains to you what this priv type is, because just maybe have a look at, okay, what is a priv type? I'm not seeing any priv type, but it should be defined somewhere. So I just would like to, normally I was expecting it to be there. The priv type maybe is something that I should see somewhere that I'm not seeing anywhere. It should explain the privilege type. Where is the privilege type? Okay, here it is. Table of the static privileges that they call. So this is the priv type. The following table summarizes the permissible static and dynamic priv types, privileges types that can be for the grant and revoke. So all of these are the privilege types. So there's a lot of them. Wherever, I don't want to talk about these, but all of these are privilege types. But what we're interested in is this select. Basically, I can put a lot of them next to each other by putting a comma. You see, it says priv type, and then there's another set of priv type, but look, each priv type comes with an optional parenthesis and column list, which means I can give permission on a table on a specific column, and I can revoke permission, privilege, some kind of privilege on a specific table, on a specific column of that table. So that's what I would like to be using. It will be easier than creating a view, for example, to hide the salary. But we will do both, so we can see both of these, how we can do those. But the idea is, just by looking here, I can see that I can add a specific column to some kind of list, which means if I'd like to have select, I would like only to be able to select the name from an employee or the salary from employee. I can do this. Salary. Now this means I'm only allowing the select on this column only. What if I want more than one column? Well, does the column list here mention this something I can use? Well, unfortunately here it doesn't show, but there are some places when every time this says column list, it means it's a list of columns. That with a comma, and then you put another one, SSN, and then you put a comma, and then another one, whatever you want, name, whatever, F name. So that's how we can specify privileges on specific columns. But we're not going to do that here because we'd like to have select on everything except the salary from employee. So we cannot do this because in SQL this doesn't work. If you do this, you cannot revoke something that is star. You have to revoke the whole thing. But so I need to do that for every user. Copy and paste, and then this time for every table. I mean, so the table or department, I need to do the same because I cannot put like different tables. Why? Because when I came here, you can see that on this object type, if I try to see the object type, what is object type? It's table, function, or procedure, which means I can mention here on table, or I can mention on function or whatever. Notice that this object type is between the brackets, which means it's optional. If I don't need it, I can just remove it. But if I would like to, for example, if I have a table called employee, I have also another function or routine called employee. I may have that. So this might be referring to a table. If I'd like to be able to distinguish between the two, I can. But in this case, we don't care about this. I'm just showing you that this is something optional that I can have, and how to understand object type. Generally, it's explained somewhere down there. So object type can be in a table, that means or, function, or procedure. And all this is like where it starts, when it ends. Now, let's have a look at here. On, this is the privilege level. So the privilege level is what? Either star, which means all databases, and all tables in all databases. This means all databases, or all schemas. This is all tables from all schemas. Remember, there's some kind of slight difference, which is I don't know what's the purpose. Maybe you can have access to, like if you do star, it's different from star dot star. This is different from the two. Now star means you have access, you can use the database, but you cannot see any tables. But if I put star dot star, you can use any schema and you can see any table. But if I don't do this, you can see all the schemas, but you cannot see the tables inside the schemas, which is honestly, I don't know exactly what type of use case it might be useful for, but this is what it is. This is how MySQL works. If you just use star without dot star, this means the schema privilege of having access to all schemas, but the tables inside those schemas, they're not part of this privilege. So you can see maybe something, all the different schemas.
On the last class, I use without star, just use the schema.
Yes.
And I can access the schema, but
not the tables.
yeah, not
That's what I was trying to say. Yes. So if you use star, you can access all the schemas, but none of the tables in any schema.
So what's the difference between not using and using the star?
You're talking about this star. You're talking about this one that you're using. If you don't use this one, now for example, if you use the database, the schema name, and you don't use this, use something just like this, without the name, that means this is just the schema that is going to be using. But look here, it seems like it's something weird, because it seems like this is a table name. Now if you don't use dot something, it's going to be considered to be a table. So if you don't use the dot, it was considered maybe a table, but you didn't have any table called company. You used company actually. So what happened is that you have access to, you can use that schema. You can see that there's a schema called company, but you cannot see any tables inside of it. If you want to, you have to add this dot star, or like this. But what I wanted you to realize is that here, the privilege level, I cannot mention specific tables with commas. I can either say all of them or a specific one. There is no like first one, first table, second table, third table. That's why I have to do this like this, and I cannot do something like, okay, this one, comma, the other one, etc. That's not possible. That's not part of the syntax. So I need to do each one of them. So what are the different tables that we have in this? I can select on company, department. There was something called depart location, and dependent, and then what else? Because the table that I have right now is on doesn't have that, but I can just maybe open and forward engineer. I called it company 2. Hold on, I can have it. I think I called it company 2. Let me be back here. This is company, but I have company 2 exactly. On company 2 I have all these tables. So these are, but no, company 2 is something else. Yeah.
Maybe it's company, just company.
Just company. But the company, I did not finish the tables. I created only these two.
So week 6.
So let me find that then. Do I have? Yes. Open. Yes, so I have it here. Not this one. Just this one. Okay, let me forward engineer. But I don't want to create the other ones, so I'm just going to, I don't care about these courses. I'm just going to exclude them. All I need are these ones, but I have 2 employees. How comes? Let's see what is going to happen. This is the department. There's employee capital. There's another employee lowercase. Where is it? Here is it. Oh, that seems to be a problem. I need to remove that. Oh, there's the employee here. I need to delete this one. So next should be fine now. Oh, there's an error. You have to check the manual. We have something near reference company department. There's something here missing. You see, this is the create table company department locations has something references company department. There's something wrong in the primary key, the foreign key. See, foreign keys, there's something wrong. Let me close this and fix that. First of all, delete this one. Delete. Then if I go back here, this department locations, I just would like to delete this one. And then, so this D number is the department number, and I just would like to, you can just use this to specify exactly what you would like to be part of the primary, the foreign key, what it is. So using this one, it places relation between the existing columns. So that's what I'd like to do. First, pick one of the columns for the foreign key. Which one is the foreign key? I think this is the one is my foreign key. And now this way it's connected to. And yes, that's, now I should have this. Not that this normally should be like a red key, but there seems to be some kind of an installation problem that doesn't show that. So anyways, Control G, next, next, and filter. We don't need these ones. Now it should be fine, inshallah. So if I come back here, if I just refresh, now this company has all the tables. So we have department location, dependent, and then employee, I need to have only project, and the last one is works on. It's works on. All right. So now I give select on all of them, but I don't want to give select on a specific column of employee. So what I could do, after granting this, I can just revoke select salary on the same thing from that same username. Now what this does, these are the set of queries that are going to be answering this question number 1, which is granting the select on all tables on the schema company, but not on the salary of the table employee. Now if I don't have this, now what I need to do, so this is option 1, let's say option 1. Now the option 2 is going to be, I need to create a view. I'm going to call it, let's say, no, something like employee. Employee view. Yeah, I prefer with no salary. Or I don't know. Employee view or something. I don't know. Let's not spend too much time on the name. As what? Select. I cannot select all of them. So I have to. I have to do one by one. Yeah, because but I need to know one by one what are different columns. So I'm just going to mention them all. Fname, minit, lname, ssn, birth date, address, sex, no salary, super ssn, and DNO. From, well, there's another way, obviously this one, from employee and nowhere, no condition. I'm not putting any condition, that's what I'm saying. Once I have this, now I'm just going to copy these and paste them, except I'm not going to grant employee, but employee view. And I'm just making sure that I'm going to revoke select on employee, because I don't want him to be seen employee. If I don't do that, maybe I will forget and give him the permission on employee. So now I will give him the select on employee view, I revoke the select from this current employee the table, and then all the rest are going to be the same. Your question? And that's the other option on how to solve this. Yes. If you have what? Well, you can use this. You can use this. So you just remove the access to whatever you don't want. So this is much better. But you did not know this up until recently, right? It was possible. So this is what you should have done. So even if it's long, but you have an option to solve it. If it's long, well, you have to type blah blah blah, but you still you're able to do that. But don't forget, with this, we need to remove the access to the employee. So we make sure that, because this is something that you might forget. So you might also maybe include that, especially if you do the star. Yes. Why? We create some kind of. Yes. So we give him permission to view that employee, but this is the view employee, not the table employee. But this is much easier because you just can give permission on the all table and then revoke a specific column. Is that okay? Now this is only for MySQL. I'm expecting if we were doing this on another database management system, or maybe the paid version of MySQL, because this is a community server which is free. That's why maybe it's not having the full potential that it can have. But some kind of professional database management system, which is I have to pay for it, normally maybe what you could do is just this. Grant select on everything from every table in that schema company, and then remove only the select from this employee. Now if you try this on MySQL, it will tell you no, you cannot revoke some privilege because this doesn't seem to be shown in the list of privileges that you have, because it just remembers star, this is the privilege that you have. And maybe this is some kind of a shortcoming, intentionally. They don't want to make it easy for this kind of advanced queries that not normal users will use all the time. Same thing like maybe used for some kind of companies, in some kind of big companies probably. So they maybe intentionally made this hard to do it easily, but it's still possible to do it without that kind of shortcut. So now the thing is, if you don't know how to do it short and know how to do it in a long way, well, do it in a long way. That's better than nothing. So that's what we have here. And that's the first exercise.